Hola bandidos, ¿cómo estamos? Welcome to Mel's Magic. I'm Magic Mel, integrative life coach, public speaker, visual artist, dancer, and continuous explorer, psychonaut, for that fact. Voila, and that is my spirit guide, Owl. Welcome! If you've never been on my channel, super happy to have you here. And yeah, I'm in a mellow mode after embodying the fiery Queen of Wands of yesterday. She was on fire. If you want to know what I mean, check out my last episode. Today I'm mellow. It's Sunday. It's kind of cloudy. I just came out of meditating. And I thought about talking about this notorious and infamous and hotly debated topic of sacred economy. Because it's coming up and there's so many speculations and rumors out there, and I'm quite frankly tired of it. I'm tired of people talking about it without actually having been in it or truly appreciating, truly going through the actual experience of one. So voila, here's me. I haven't talked about it until now because I had to go through my own process and actually distill the why. It's an amazing book, Simon Sinek, Start With Why. And really, again, it all comes down to embodying, really connect with the essence of why I was in there as well. And since the topic of healing, we've talked about in a few episodes here, for me has come to a stage where through my own videos, I said, there's only so much personal healing we can do on our own, okay, with the support of maybe therapists, coaches, this and that. But there comes a time when we got to step out of the healing or enter a new phase of healing that can only take shape in relationship with other people. And conscious containers, such as the Mandala, sacred economy, what else is out there? I think dream weaving. There's different looms. They call it different looms, like strands of gifting economy. They are perfect tools to refine that healing, that individuation process, which it is at the end of the day. And that's why there's a lot of misconception and misunderstanding. So personally, I started the Alchemist movement. I joined the Alchemist movement, which is part of the Mandala movement, sacred economy, gifting economy movement, by the end of 2019. Now, some of you already know that 2019, sorry, not 2019, I joined 2020. Those years it's kind of all muddled in my head because they were crazy. So some of you know, after my notorious breakdown 2019, I spent a good year really shutting off the world and going inside and rebuilding myself consciously. And I couldn't even deal with people, to be honest. There's my mom around. I could hardly deal with her. I really had to go inside and I was very fragile also energetically, very sensitive to other people's energy. I could not deal with anyone. But after a year, I thought, well, what's next? And the reality hit me, I'm like, okay, what are we going to do financially? I don't want to go back to teaching. At that point, I didn't even want to go back to painting, but I wanted to, invest the savings that I had in something that made sense. And to be honest, the savings I had in my bank account didn't make sense. I even took it out, but that's another story. But I wanted something different, and I put that intention out into the universe. And as you know, the universe listens to us because we're connected. Our mind is connected to the mind of the all, the universal mind. So the universe hears everything that we say. So I put out the intention. I said, universe, I want to connect with my soul tribe. I want to find the right people to grow with, to continue my healing process. And I want to find a different way of financing myself. And then, boom, a friend of mine, she invited me into this movement. And to be very honest, at the beginning, I was like, I was always like, hey, join the Mandala. It's like almost like a secret society. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? What is this thing? And yes, it sparked my curiosity. But in the back of my mind, I said, okay, when I realized, okay, it's an investment of 2,020 euros, in the back of my mind, I said, I had some doubts. I'm like, okay, if this thing is not going to work out, at least I gave the money to somebody I know, because the whole point of it all is that you gift a certain amount of money to a person. It's human to human, and it's a circular thing. So you pass through some elements. I'll go through that in a moment. And by the end of it, you're supposed to receive the money back after having gone through that process. And the whole point of it is also that you know who the money actually goes to, which is something I was very attracted to because, for example, the savings I have, the portfolio I had in the bank, it was too abstract for me. It was like, okay, I put in this portfolio, it goes to some weird either artificial intelligence or green economy investments. I don't speak that language, so excuse me. But it's always very distant and abstract and anonymous. And that's precisely what didn't appeal to me personally. So I quite like the fact that, okay, I'm gifting this money to a person. And I actually knew that person, and I knew how she would use that money, what her dreams were. So I'm like, back of my mind, okay, if everything fails, if this thing is not going to take off, then at least I gave the money to somebody who I know is going to make good use of it. And that was me after having read Deepak Chopra's book. I have it on the table. Let me get it actually, 1 second. Deepak Chopra's book, Creating Affluence, the A to Z Steps to a Richer Life. So I read that book, and in one of them, there's like a letter for each term we can meditate on, and while we meditate, where our attention goes, that actually magnifies that concept and brings it into our life. And one of the concepts was generosity, charity also. So I thought, okay, regardless of how much money I have, it's relative, no? I can give what feels good to me to another person. So again, in the back of my mind, I said, okay, if everything fails, if this movement is like dodgy, at least I gave 2020 euros to somebody who's making good use of it. Basta. I can write it off as that. Yeah. And so I joined the movement. It's all very quick. Like there's certain time limits, which make you, depends what your nature is, can make you quite stressed because you're like, oh my God, I have to write this letter, gifting letter. I have to give the money to that person as a time frame. But afterwards, I found out there's a good reason for it. Because at the basis of this movement also is the notion that our power lies in the right here and right now. And that is something I absolutely agree with. The present moment, everyone talks about it. But to really come back into the present moment and act, that is powerful. Because when we don't act in the present moment, our mind, or give too much time to things, especially big decisions, our mind comes in and spins a whole, remember the drama queen, the hamster wheel? The hamster is a drama queen in my mind, and starts to project fear stories and questions and doubts, etc. So I see the valid point in creating a kind of deadline by when you write a gifting letter, meaning you write a letter to the person who will receive the money, where you write about your intention, your dreams, and your goodwill in supporting the dreams of that person. It's a beautiful act. It's a psycho-magical act because our word, written and spoken, is extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. That's why nowadays also I'm trying my best to be conscious of what I say and when it's better to stay silent, because so many of our words that just create chaos, no? Chaos, fear, and destruction. So in any case, writing this gifting letter is a beautiful act, a symbolic act. And then within a week, you gift the 2020 euros. And even if you don't have the money, it actually gets your ass into gear to mobilize yourself. Because if you really want something, if you really say yes to something, we spoke about this, you take the first step. And by taking the step, you signal the universe that you're serious about it, and the universe will actually come and provide and create opportunities out of nowhere often. It's like quite a miraculous thing. It's happened to me. So again, there's a time limit. You write a letter, you give the money to that person, and then you enter this movement. And it can be quite overwhelming because you're like, you don't quite know what you're getting yourself into. There's actually something we're changing now, because I don't like anymore the notion that it has to be this kind of secretive thing. I like clarity. And I understand people who are hesitant to join that if there's no clarity. Not everyone is, for example, in my case, I'm kind of like, I just go for it. I'm kind of a risk taker. I take calculated risks, but not everyone is like that. I understand that. I do understand that. Now, there's also another point to it. You can explain as much as you want because your mind likes to, understand, but you can also push it and explain too much and you will still have doubts. Your mind can always come up with doubts and more questions. So there's a point where you actually have to remember discernment, check in with yourself and ask yourself, does this sit with me? Are the words that the person is telling me, do they resonate with me? Does this movement, explanation of the movement resonate with me? Yes or no? With or without the words yes or no? And you got to, at some point, just pull the trigger and say, go, I'm in it, and say yes. So once you say yes, you write the letter, you give the gift, you're in it, and your process begins. So you start as a fire. It's a beautiful thing because it combines so many aspects. So there is this aspect of traversing or journeying through certain elements. So that is fire. And the fire, if we really think about it, we are actually made up of those elements too. We carry those elements within us. Also, the archangels represent certain primal elements. So, for example, Archangel Michael is fire. Archangel Raphael is wind. Gabriel in the west is water. Uriel is earth. And they're not just some abstract things. We can really embody those elements. And that is the whole point of this journey. I want to make that very clear. You come in as fire, and as fire, you literally go through a burning process, transmutation process. Our lineage is called Alchemist precisely because of that, because you go through a process of transmutation, of purification. And I'm not talking about this, remember, toxic positivity where we're only looking to be pure and no bad and no shadows. No. It's a process of integration and purification in the sense of coming back to your essence, purifying the shadows, integrating the shadows. So as fire, you burn a lot of fears because you have a lot of questions. You're like, oh my God, did I just say yes to something wacky? Is this a cult? Okay, let's just get definitions right here, because a lot of people say, oh my God, it is a cult. The definition of a cult is that there's one person who is tagging along or who's kind of put on a pedestal, apparently knows more, is a wise person, whatever, and there's a whole bunch of followers who literally follow. And that is the contrary to this process of the alchemists, where everything is about, the process is about empowering the individual so as to become a healthy, holy individual again, powerful in their own right, so as to create interdependent relationships with other people, which is at the core of the new paradigm, the new earth, which is already here. And because the concept is a society, a community is only as healthy as the individual. That's why what we see in the 3D matrix is so unhealthy, dysfunctional, toxic, because there's a few people profiting at the expense of a whole mass, disempowered mass. Yeah? And that actually is a pyramid scheme, because there's also this like, oh my God, it's a cult and it's a pyramid scheme. The mandala, it's crazy. And I get it, because from the outside, you look at it, you haven't experienced it, and there's fear taking over, projection taking over. And that are the stories. If you Google it, if you look up, I looked it up also because I'm like, I didn't even know what a pyramid scheme was. So I looked it up and I'm like, what are these people who are scared talking about? I Googled it, pyramid scheme, and there's some people, apparently some women, who felt like, oh, it's a scam and they didn't get their money back. And I was like, yes, because they looked at the whole thing as a mechanical process. People who think that they were ripped off or that it's a scam or that they didn't get what they wanted out of it is because they didn't actually go through the process, the work. It's not like some kind of lottery or crypto banking where you put some money in and then you expect some miraculous return. I want to make it very, very clear that the alchemist movement, the mandala movement, this kind of sacred economy has to do with the empowerment of the individual. So I mean, I think I'll make another video to specify who this is really for, because it's not for everyone. It's for people who've reached a certain healing process, a healing stage, who want to enter a conscious community where they are ready to go through a process where they're reflected by the community and integrate their shadow. And as they go through the element fire, burning through your fears, wind, connecting with your truth, connecting with your voice, speaking your truth, this is the element that so empowered me personally. That's why I feel it's important to share here. Because if you're a Mel's Magic official, you know that here I'm all about connecting to our voice, our truth, and speaking and sharing it. Because speaking our truth creates clarity in the world. And it's not something that we necessarily learn from our family of origin. I was so disempowered from my upbringing. My parents it wasn't a conscious thing, no, but I realized how traumatized I was. How I mistrusted my own voice. How I silenced myself. How I swallowed my own anger, and the anger actually went against me. Speaking our truth, speaking our needs is essential. And I must say, especially for women, because we're put in this like, be obedient, be diminutive, be cute, be nice girl kind of box where you don't speak your truth. So people who feel betrayed by the Mandala movement are those who didn't really go through the process, who didn't really embody the elements. And if you join this movement, you got to be prepared that, for example, once you learn how to embody your wind and speak your truth, you're not going to only do it within the movement, you're going to apply it in your life. And that means shaking some foundations. That means going through some discomfort. Because you can't gaslight yourself anymore. You can't be a hypocrite and just say, okay, I'm going to speak my truth in the movement, and then go back into like being deceitful and living a lie essentially in my outer world. Things are connected. So things are going to be shaken up. Your life will transform for the better, because the more you come into your power, the more authentic you are, the more truthful, the more integrated you are. Your outer world will be a reflection of your inner state, your inner healing, your inner integrity. And that takes some courage. That's why it's not for everyone. And that's also why so many people feel, oh, it's a scam. I never got my 8 times investment back, which, I guess one of the baits is like, okay, you put in, you gift the 2,020 euros to the water, to the person who's at the center is the water. And then you get the 8 times the amount when you reach water. Now, the thing is, not many people reach water because they're unwilling to go through the process. It takes some freaking persistence and courage to go through that process. And the whole point is that you reach water as a consequence. It's almost like reaching water. So, okay, the first element is fire. Second one is wind, empowerment of your truth, your voice. Third element is earth. It's a very important one, because especially for someone like me who's very ethereal, I have an amazing imagination, but I need to embody earth, which for me also means divine masculine, i.e. structure, bringing ideas into the ground, manifesting things, creating a plan. Plan might go sideways, but at least you set a plan of action into motion, signaling to the universe that you're serious about your dreams. You're taking control of your life. You're taking the reins of your life back. You're not expecting someone to fix it anymore, to come and save you, to relay the responsibility and accountability for your life to some authority out there, which is, again, at the root of the 3D matrix, the narration that's being fed to us. Somebody out there knows better. The anonymous authorities, whoever they are, Somebody out there knows better than myself. I can relax. I don't need to pull my own weight. I don't need to make hard decisions for my own life, because I'm not responsible. Somebody else is responsible. No, dear. Joining the Mandala movement, the Alchemist movement, means coming back into your power. It's a sobering but liberating process. Because from fire, wind, earth, grounding your ideas, being responsible for the organization also of Zoom calls, of meetings, means self-management. That is one of the core values of our movement, self-management. And again, prior to my breakdown, I didn't even think what my values were. I never really pondered that. The beautiful thing about this movement, we have a whole set of values. Like, I guess, like a company has values, but it's one thing to know and talk about the values. It's a completely different ballgame to embody and practice, put and live out these values face to face in relationship to another human being. That's another ballgame. That's literally grounding something into the 3D. So self-management is one of the core values here, where we no longer wait for somebody else to give us permission. Even if you think, for example, if I feel something could be improved, the movement is an organic thing, a dynamic, a living organism, because it's one of evolution. It's asking us, conscious people to jump on board and evolve, create something new that hasn't been there before, that includes experimentation, risk-taking, constant refinement, trying things out, and then improving things. But also, as I said, self-management means if I see something could be improved, I say it. I don't wait for somebody else to do it. I use my wind, my trust in my own truth, and I present it to a group. I say, guys, maybe we could do this better. And the beautiful thing is there's a consensus, we check in with each other because it's a group. It's very important that if there's one issue that comes up that one person brings, we'll see how other people feel. Do you feel the same about it? And if several people say yes or no, then at least there's a consensus. It's not just one person, that might come from ego. It happens. We all have egos. I have an ego. But at least there's a consensus and see, is this helpful? Is this useful? How can we resolve this? Resolution of conflict, communication in a safe space. It's also important to learn. So we go through this process to learn certain skills that we haven't learned necessarily from our family of origin, and to unlearn a whole bunch of things too. Because you go through the process of fire, wind, earth, water. Water is receiving, like you've done the work, and then you receive, and that is the abundant state. But actually, I see it as coming home to yourself, to your own abundance, which always is there. Because you and I, we are abundant beings. 3D Matrix feeds us the lie of like, you're not enough, you have to still do this, you don't know enough, you need to achieve something in order to feel enough. No, Deepak Chopra also says, we're already abundant beings, infinitely abundant. But let's see what is blocking us from our own abundance. Usually our limiting beliefs, old programming, conditioning. All of that is being disentangled and deconstructed in this process of going through the alchemical of the movement. And again, I've been in this movement now at 1.5 years, and I'm still in wind because it takes persistence and embodying these elements. And I came to a point just recently, I think I shared with you, I read the book Start With Why, where I was really grappling like, why am I even still in this movement, Maybe I should put my energy elsewhere. I've learned so much. I've got back the 2020 euros in self-development, self-growth. I'm okay. I could just like leave the movement. But as you know, I pull cards. I'm in touch with my psychic gifts or intuition. I kept on pulling cards. I said, okay, give me some guidance, divine. Like, why is there still a purpose here? And the card always came up, co-creation, sharing of gifts. Now, what does that mean? So this is a huge topic, guys, so bear with me or press the pause button, up to you. I spoke with Jacob from You the Healer in Mel's Magic Conversations number 1, where he also went through similar life experience as me, had huge breakdown, health issues, suicidal ideation, and came back out of it, through darkness and back out of it. And we agreed that there needs to be an end to the healing process, because we can't carry the notion of, oh my God, I'm eternally broken around, because then we will never thrive. There's got to be a point in our healing process where we're like, okay, I'm done. For example, where I'm at right now, I've reached a certain level now. Let's co-create. Let's thrive. I am with you, divine, universe, Lord, whatever you want to call it. Guide me. What is the next step? And the next step is co-creation. Co-create with the divine. Because I feel one of the trademarks or characteristics of healers, of people who've gone through hell and back, that we want to serve and we want to share our knowledge. We want to empower other people. And we want to create a different world. Because the 3D matrix is thriving and feeding on us unhealed people who are still stuck in the lower vibrations, who the old system is feeding the emotional lush. The alchemist Sarah Al-Khaldi, she articulates it in a more eloquent way, but basically it feeds from our lower emotional reactions. So anger, greed, powerlessness. So it continuously feeds a narrative that keeps us disempowered human beings and feeds these emotions back into the system. And as long as we buy into that story, we are literally enslaved. So we gotta heal and raise our vibration, liberate that stuck energy that is almost like frozen in time because of the trauma, release that energy so our vibration can rise again, because we are alchemical tools. We are alchemists. We are magicians as human beings. So where was I going with that? We can only co-create. Co-creation takes place when we've at the higher vibrations, when you're able to access also input from the divine, when you're in touch with your intuition, when you have a healthy relationship with your intuition, when you trust your intuition again after having done the healing. You're open. You're a more open vessel to receive divine guidance and tap into your abundance. So the new paradigm, the new earth, is built on a different way of trading, a different way of economy between us human beings, where we essentially don't come from ego-based fear, greed, lack, scarcity mentality, but it sounds cliche and woo-woo and whatever, love-based society, where us human beings, we've done our healing, have come back into our wholeness and holiness. We realize that we are holy beings, and we want to create something different in tandem, in collaboration with the divine. And that is at the core of the Mandala movement, the sacred economy movements, the dream weaving, the alchemist movement. Okay, I can't talk about dream weaving. I guess it's a different lineage, but I can speak from my alchemist lineage. That is at the essence, the why of the whole process. And there's different attraction points. I mean, some people are more interested in the financial abundance. It is a good investment. I mean, if I really think about it and really communicate it, I'm going to make a list of it, but I can tell you already off the top of my head why it's a good investment. You're investing in personal growth. In our mandala, the moment you sign up, the moment you say yes and want to join, you're going to be working with a whole bunch of amazing, talented, gifted, unique human beings, me being one of them. Most of us are coaches. We've done our healing. We have a vision. We have plans. We're not passive. We're out in the world doing our thing, speaking our truth, sharing our gifts. So just to be within a container of high vibrational beings, that is a gift itself. Only that already covers 2,020 euros. Because guess what? Frequency, the kind of energy you surround yourself with, is important. It will affect you. So that's number one, high vibrational beings, conscious beings who are actually willing to do the work. Because I'm not done integrating my shadow. It's a constant process. But we are self-reflective, i.e. we're constantly scanning, self-aware. Where are my blind spots? How can I grow more? How can I integrate more? How can I step more into my power? So we're a certain breed of people here. The moment you join us, also you get actually coaching from us. Like 2020, how much money do we spend on like ridiculous stuff anyway? That's so abstract and whatever. This is very concrete stuff here. You get coaching from Jacob. He's in the water. He said, hey, whoever joins us now gets 3 months of my coaching. That's worth 2,020 euros. So high vibrational container, you get coaching. You get inspired by being around us. You go through the process of individuation, reclaiming your fragments and your shadows, and like literally becoming a more whole you, more empowered you. You get your money back times 8 at the end of the process as a kind of prize after having done the work. You're contributing value because we encourage you in our container to actually share your gifts. The basis is also sharing of gifts, of the new sacred economy. The new economy of human beings is based on actually sharing our innate true gifts. to be seen and valued for that, to see the value in your true gifts. Not in something, we're not asking you to do something that you find soulless and joyless. We're all about actually reconnecting with your soul, which is your joy, deeply connected with your joy, and to share that with the world. You have a support system also, because we are a community. Again, I'm gonna write down a whole list. There's so much to gain from it. So I'm here to defend the movement, because I'm tired of hearing nonsense and opinions of people who have never gone through the process or who are just looking at it from the outside. It's easy to judge something if you don't actually understand it or know it. My stance would be, even if you don't understand it, don't judge it. Because, it's the point. In any case, start with why. I was at a point 2 weeks, time is a weird one nowadays, where I had to also reconnect with the why. Why am I still here? And Sinek makes a very good point, with mainly using the example of Macintosh Apple now as an example. We got to be deeply rooted in the why of things. Because if you believe in the why, in the essence of the philosophy of something, you're going to trail through it, hardships and all, because you believe in it. So just like Martin Luther King, I had to reconnect with that, and I admitted I have a dream. And this dream is not solely mine. Everyone who joins this movement, we have a dream of a better world. And better doesn't mean dismissing this world, because this world is the better world. It's just treating it differently, creating a different relationship, first with ourselves and then with the world. With everything is a relationship. Quoting Teal Swan here, everything is a relationship. But if our relationship with ourselves, if our self is not even there, if we're disconnected with ourselves, then we're disconnected from the world. It's that simple. It's not astrophysics. So Sinek helped me redefine, clarify the why I'm actually in this movement. Because I believe in a different world where we can handle things differently, in a more mature way. Yeah, in a more enlightened way. Enlightened meaning in a more conscious way, in a more aware way. Because as long as we're stuck in 3D consciousness, we're self-conscious, neurotic, just thinking about ourselves, taking, always in scarcity, and that's enough. Look at Mother Earth. I mean, don't even look at Mother Earth. Look at yourself. Aren't you depleted doing some work that you're not even that you don't even enjoy? Like your biology is there. I just watched Carrie Kay video too. She's good. Carrie Kay quoting her here. She says, "Your biology, i.e., your body, might be there, but not your energy. And your energy comes back when you reconnect with your soul, with yourself, and with your joy." And that's what we're on about in this new paradigm, new earth. Yeah, I claim it. I'm part of it. I want to. I choose to. I choose to create a different story, contribute to a different story. Because guess what? Contributing to something meaningful is one of our core needs. We have spiritual needs. We have soul needs that are not being covered by the 3D matrix, that actually deplete us like automats and diminishes us to automats. We are divine spiritual beings. And this is a time to reclaim that power that is inside of us and to cut away the toxic shit and open new timelines and stop fighting against things and this and that. Just stop engaging with the negative energy. That's how you actually stop feeding it. Where attention goes, energy flows. We're not even fighting the old. We are creating the new. So if anything of this resonates with you, let me know. Because the movement, a lot of things also people are scared about. Yeah, okay, I don't mind putting in 2020 years, but then I know that as Wind, I'm asked to invite other people. And a lot of people are like, I'm not going to invite other people. Of course you're not going to invite other people if you don't believe in it. That's why it's so important to know what the movement is actually about. And I did write a little manifesto. I'm going to read you part of it because it is important. And I took the time to write this for myself. I had to clarify, why am I still in this thing? So I'm going to read it out to you, Ba. Here are my questions. Why are we here? I'm going to read it out to you. Look at the news. It's plain to see the old world is collapsing, that things are falling apart. It's plain to see that chaos abounds, as what no longer works is crumbling from the inside out. The chaos, though, is not the end point, but rather a necessary step in order for healthier structures to emerge. The old paradigm of lack, scarcity, greed, narcissistic aggrandissement, look at our so-called leaders of the old matrix. Aren't we all appalled by them? Look at any politician supposedly being a leader. Aren't they like horrendous? Ego-driven behaviors who play a zero-sum game between us humans and us humans in relationship to the planet. That kind of paradigm is obsolete. It's neurotic, it's suicidal. So we don't need to reinvent the wheel. It's about purifying it, injecting new life, new consciousness into the structure. And again, I told you in my last episode, let's not blame the structure. A structure, a tool is what it is. It's neutral. It's how we use it. What kind of intention is behind the usage of that tool or structure that determines the outcome. Yeah. So let's not vilify the mandala. Let's not vilify democracy. What is the intention behind it and how are you using it? That's what's important. So I continue what I wrote down. By purification, I do not mean a Puritan extremist approach that seeks to eradicate sensual pleasure. Yeah, again, we're not going to go all extremist again towards toxic positivity, but a wholesome, organic, sustainable attitude that encourages a healthy relationship of us human beings in relation to ourselves, each other, and the planet, and restores the joy and celebration of natural cycles of life. Because guess what, guys? We're not even asked to do that. It's not even that complicated, to be honest. We got to reconnect with our own nature and the cycles of nature, of beautiful nature out there, because we depend on nature. Nature doesn't give a shit about us, actually. Actually, we could totally devastate the planet and nature will come back. The planet doesn't need us. Yeah? We need the planet. And Eisenstein, in his book, The Yoga of Eating, also makes a beautiful... Is this still recording? Yeah. Says something groundbreaking for me. He says, even if we would restore the planet, the ecosystems to back how it was with its infinite beauty, if we are still messed up, traumatized, and depleted in our psyche, meaning our soul, we will eventually deplete the planet again, destroy it again, because as within, so without. We are connected. The outer world is the reflection of our inner world. So let's get off our throne of saving the planet and let's save ourselves first. So I continue reading. Okay, I ordered Eisenstein's book, Sacred Economics, Revised Money, Gift, and Society in the Age of Transition. I'm just paraphrasing what I saw on the internet. Charles Eisenstein, I'm paraphrasing here, he shows how capitalism, I'm just using his words, I'm blatant to see, just look at what's happening. He shows how capitalism contributes to alienation, competition, scarcity, destroys community, and necessitates endless growth at the cost of social environmental devastation. Today, these trends have reached their extreme and their collapse and presents a golden opportunity to transition into more connected, ecological and sustainable ways of being. And that's what sacred economy is all about. Thus, we come together in our mandala to reclaim our earthly abundance, because that's another thing, like, oh, if I'm spiritual, then I'm not allowed to have money and generate abundance. That's BS again. I totally claim my abundance, and I told the universe, I'm ready, because guess what? The more abundant I am, having good intentions and coming from a place of generosity and goodwill, the more abundant I am, the more abundance I can share with others. And that is a fact. So I totally want to merge and relate my spirituality with my earthly abundance. Hell yeah. So we come together in our mandala to reclaim our earthly abundance by contributing to a gifting economy and using money as a symbol to amplify the energy of abundance, generosity, trust, and infinite possibilities. Because guess what? Just like the internet, just like the mandala, just like a car, money is a symbol and is a tool. If you come from an energy of greed, of power control, of fear essentially, and you what do you call that? You're like keeping all this money to yourself. You might be a billionaire, but you're still empty inside and poor. If you take someone who's generous, who comes from a desire to merge his or her personal will with the divine will, you give them a bunch of money, they will spread that abundance. Because coming from that place, you see the health of the other as your own health. You come from unity consciousness, meaning that everything is connected. And if you're poor, then I'm poor at the end of the day. I mean, it's almost like what Jesus said, no? Like, I can't remember what Jesus said, but he was almost like, I am the beggar, because it's all one, we're all connected. So if one part of the planet is suffering, then it's going to affect me eventually too. So if I want to create abundance, I must claim my abundance and then encourage other people to be abundant too, to tap into that frequency and claim it and own it. So logistically, you join our mandala by gifting 2,020 euros to a person at the center of the circle. And at the end of your first completed cycle through the elements that involves personal growth, you receive 8 times the amount, 16,160 euros, to bring your divinely inspired dreams to life. Because another thing of the movement is it's beautiful because it pushes you to take action and to live out your dreams. And guess what? Magic Mel needs money, for example. Casa Lily here in my home, I want to invest into it. It requires money. I did the math. So again, using the earth element, I want to ground my dream life, my dreams into reality, and that requires money. I'm not even going to deny that. Let's come face to face with money. Let's not carpet sweep again. I don't need money. I'm good. I'm like, okay, unless that's everyone, you have a different plan, but I'm saying I want to live an abundant life, a luxurious life, because I know I'm going to convert money into something, into a blessing for other people. So how about that? Yeah, I want to receive 16,160 euros. That's not even a lot. I mean, it's like peanuts, really, in my grander vision, but it's something. It's the process of actually claiming that that's important, because then we can multiply it easily. Anyway, so what lies at the core and heart of this journey, this process, is us coming together as a self-reflective group to heal in community, to co-create the new paradigm, to create sister and brotherhood, to learn to embody our wholeness and natural rhythms by embodying the elements of fire, air, earth, and water, because the water is also yin, receiving, non-action. It's actually quite interesting because it's the new paradigm, I feel, is also built on going back through the cyclic nature of how things work, not being constantly producing and acting, which depletes us and the planet. We have cycles. Our energy has cycles. Nature has cycles. So we need to reconnect with those rhythms and allow ourselves to be in that rhythm also of non-doing. So the movement encourages us to go through the elements and to respect these cyclic rhythms and to learn to give and receive from joy, abundance, and trust. At the heart of this movement is trust also, because actually it takes a leap of faith to give somebody you perhaps haven't known before 2,020 euros. Yeah, it's an act of trust. But guess what? This movement is about creating long-lasting, trusting relationships, which is something that we need to restore in society. Because in 3D Matrix, everyone's out to get you and manipulate you and scam you. I get it. I get it that you're mistrustful. But you've got to start somewhere. So at the heart of this process lies your alignment with your highest calling. That's another thing. I wouldn't be this empowered doing what I'm doing now if it hadn't been for being part of this movement. I admit it. I have had separate coaching, dream analysts, therapy separately, but definitely the movement has empowered my wind, has empowered Mel's Magic Official, and brought me personal abundance. In the grander scheme, in changing my mindset, in knowing that I'm working with cool people, that I'm not alone anymore, Because I think a lot of us who've done the healing work, we think, okay, I've done the work. Are there other people out there similar to me? Yes, there are. A whole bunch of us. So it also gives you the support. in one of my recent episodes, with the card of creating a support system. It is important because I admit it. I spend probably like 90% of my time on my own, but I do need support and community. Moral support also when I fall, when I deviate. I'm only a human being. So, it is by embodying your personal power that you reach the center of the circle, water, and are able to receive. It's a win-win-win scenario, as by empowering ourselves individually, reconnecting with our divinity, and supporting a larger network, we enliven and nourish the entire web of relations. We create abundance for ourselves as we learn to access our innate, humanely divine abundance, and the monetary abundance is a reflection of this process. The money in the end is a symbol of your personal abundance, and both go hand in hand. Voila, I spelled it out. Next question. What attracted you to the mandala in the first place? It's almost like I'm interviewing myself. What attracted me was the prospect of being part of a conscious community and to exit the matrix by creating an alternative sustainable economy. And to be very honest, to amplify my financial abundance, to be a better vessel of divinely inspired abundance for others. Telling you very truthfully here. Are you still with me? 40 minutes. Okay, we do 50 minutes and then keep it at there. Last question for this session. What is our cause, purpose, and belief here? What is the essence of our cause, of the Alchemist movement? Why should anyone care? Important question. Why should anyone care? The higher cause is to come back into our power as whole, healed human beings, and to form sacred communities that build, contribute to, and function through a sacred economy, because economy has always been and will be part of our humanity. We trade things, we share things, because we're all different pieces of a puzzle that makes up the larger web of humanity, whatever you want to call it, symphony of humanity. We are all different aspects of the divine. So what I have, you might not have, and what you have, I might not have. So let's trade gifts. Isn't that beautiful? Similarly, the purpose is to come together as human beings who are reconnected to their divinity. I'm repeating myself a bit, but it doesn't matter. To collaborate, to support each other's dreams, to create a sacred, sustainable economy that is based on practicing real values and fosters human-to-human relationships, as well as restoring a connectedness to nature and the cyclic rhythms of Mother Earth, thus creating a win-win-win outcome on an individual, collective, and planetary level. And at the essence of our cause lies the regaining of sovereignty of human beings who come together through the structure of the mandala to build a new way of trading, exchanging, sharing financial gifts, but most importantly, to share human talent, gifts, gift capital, and build interdependent relationships so as to create harmonious societal structures that are supportive, collaborative in nature, and defy the alienation, competition, and scarcity paradigm of the old, conventional, outdated, collapsing capitalist matrix. Boom! Basta la pasta. How does that sound? That is why I'm still part of this movement. That is why I feel it's important. And that is why I will invite other people to it, because it's a damn cool thing and it's happening. And we're not the only, we don't claim to be the only solution out there. I'm always highly dubious of like, we are the only solution. No, it's probably other stuff going on, cool stuff. But we are definitely one of the solutions. So if you vibe with this, message me, I told you. Email me if you're interested, because yeah, we are looking. I am looking for people to collaborate with, and not just anyone. I'm very discerning now. I treasure my time and my energy, so I'm only going to collaborate with people who also inspire me and who've done a certain amount of work and who want and are eager and can't wait to contribute to something better. How's that? I'll leave you with that, guys. Bye. I hope you appreciate the different aspects of Magic Mail. You know, I'm sometimes more in the quirky mode, I'm sometimes more serious, but hey, we have different facets. Each one in its time comes out. And this one was a bit more serious and important. Huh? So, leave you with that. Have a beautiful Sunday wherever you are. If anything resonates, message me in the comments box. Email me for one-on-one coaching, energy readings in general. If you have any ideas, message me, email me, like, share, subscribe, support my channel. If you feel like giving and sharing, giving and receiving, keeping that going, then please donate to my channel. I welcome any support, and see you for the next episode, because we're rolling in season 6 here at Male's Magic Official. Owl and I have got your back. Ciao.